And we are live.
Oh,
Have we got a bit of feedback? No, I think it's okay, isn't
no
it?
feedback.
No, I think we're good. Hello, beautiful Tina. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Aloise?
I'm good, actually. Yeah, I've had a nice day. I've had a lovely day. It was quite hectic with the challenge, as you can imagine. So I kind of my healthy eating went a little bit out the window. So I'm back on my healthy eating, which is good.
Yeah, I'm working on that myself.
Well, this is it, isn't it? You kind of, hi, Artemis. So people are just coming on. So say hello when you join us. So Tina, remind me, whereabouts are you in the world?
Where am I in the world? I'm actually, I haven't found the job I want so far, but
sorry, I meant where do you live?
Oh, where do I live? Okay, I am in the U.S., so I am in North Carolina.
Okay.
So
cool. And then how did you find me originally? Hello, beautiful people. We've got Tracy, we've got Leah, Donna, Victoria. Hello, you beautiful souls. We've got the lovely Tina here. And I have to say, before we came out, I went to Tina, have you ever done anything like this before? And she went, no. And I said, am I pushing you out your comfort zone? And she went, yes.
Speaking in person, that's great. Speaking with technology, no, that's new for me. So.
Well done. But it's the same, really. It's like, we're having a cup of tea. We're just, know. And I like to push people out their comfort zones, don't I, Tina?
I know you do. So I said, if I didn't reach out, she was probably going to come get me. So I said, I'm not going to reach out anyway.
You were probably right, actually. I think you read my mind. I was thinking.
I think so, too. Mm-hmm.
So how did you find me originally, Tina? Can you remember?
Oh, gosh, that was a while. Originally, I found you through Charlie Freak. So kind of just like Fiona did.
Yeah.
I was following Charlie and the Freak Sense family. So
love the Charlie. I love the Freaks. I do love the Charlie, and him and Colleen are amazing. So you found me through them, and that you just found the challenge and signed up.
Yeah, and Josh X. I think you did an interview with Josh X. It was like The Meaning of Life, I think, part 1 and 2. So I had watched that, and I was attracted to, if you remember that. I think it was part 1 and part 2. That was a while ago, but.
Yeah. And so your spiritual awakening, when was that? Was that obviously before?
That was also during COVID, which was last fall of 2020. It did happen on my job. So I was literally, I was an teacher assistant for the public school, and I was training to get my bus license. So I was literally on the bus when my awakening happened.
So tell us the story, because I remember this story. It's amazing.
It was the week I was training. It was actually the day before I was going to get my license. And we were practicing, and I had my teacher there, and she was just telling me things. We were driving, and she was teaching me how to drive. And we had to imagine students getting on the bus because, at that time there were no students on the bus. You don't practice with students. So I was just envisioning what she was telling me, and I just got a download. Instant download, like, you cannot do this. You cannot do this. You cannot do this with the children. And it just freaked me out because I had nothing like that before.
What, like a voice in your head?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Right, like a voice. Right there. I was literally driving the bus, and it happened right there. And I just totally broke down. I had panic, anxiety and sweating and, the whole thing that comes with something that you're not familiar with. So, what do I do with this information now? Wow. So I just continued with my day. Sure. It was stressful. It was almost the end of my day anyway. So, I just got a download and then just poof.
So what did you do? You just decided like that kind of, you listened to your guide. It sounds like your guides, and it sounds like your guidance.
It was louder than ever in my life.
Wow.
I've had a few things that I never listened to. I never listened to them. I've heard them before many, many times. And they always turn into tragedy or an accident or loss of a job or really physical illness. And I said, oh, I'm going to listen this time. So I did.
I just want to unpack that a bit, Tina, if you don't mind, because that is something I teach in the academy. It's like we have this, I've got loads of energy now coming through my system. There is this right path of action, this righteous path. And the righteous path is when we are listening and we are guided and we are walking our soul path, basically. And because all of us have had this connection severed, they want to sever us really as much as possible. So what you just described there is what I really want to get across to people listening who want to join us and they're scared, because what you just described, I've seen it. I've interviewed thousands of people, and I remember one lady telling me that she didn't listen to her guidance either, and we have big accidents. She literally skiing accidents, and an ambulance ran her over. It was bonkers.
Yes, I was in 2 accidents, 2 work-related accidents, and actually 3 work-related accidents would put me in the hospital, and I ended up having surgery, and I mean, I was months out of work each time.
Wow.
So I said, no,
you're listening. Because you often hear stories about people who, they can't leave their job because they're really scared, but they hate their job, they hate their job, they hate their job. And then finally they get made redundant, and it seems like the biggest, oh my God, I hate, oh, this is awful. And it's the best thing that ever happened to them.
This was beyond, it was kind of beyond my control.
Right.
I truly couldn't ignore it this time.
No, it sounds like they got you. They got you proper, didn't they?
They got me, yeah.
So tell us, so that was your spiritual awakening, and you listened to your guidance, which was amazing.
I did.
Well done. And then I remember when I reached out to you, you'd done the challenge, hadn't you?
Yes.
And I remember reaching out to you and I said, Tina, we have got a little bit of feedback. I said, are you going to join us? And you said no. And tell us from your side what happened.
I was not sure. I mean, the fear, all that money issue, all that anxiety, all that, how am I going to do this? What am I doing? Because it was all new to me. I had no previous spirituality before this. It was like literally waking up as one person and then going to bed and waking up as another person. Literally, it was like a lightning bolt came through, and it was just.
They got you, didn't you? This was a proper one.
I said, oh no, not more of this stuff, my past stuff. I said, wow, this is powerful. So yeah, I mean, I quit my job the following week, and I left my church the following week. So it was like boom, boom, boom. I had to just cut it all out, and I didn't even really know what I was doing.
And where was I in that process? Was you quit your job? Had you by this stage, or?
No, it was before I actually joined. I quit in November of 2020.
Right.
Yeah, my awakening was October, and then I quit in November 2020.
So what made you go from a no, and the fear around money, and I've enjoyed the challenge, but I can't do it. What made you go from a no to a yes?
I said, well, I've had enough accidents. I have to trust my faith, because I grew up with faith. Maybe the wrong one. I was grown up in the Catholic Church, so it wasn't quite spirituality, but I still, prayed to God. So I said, I have to step into my faith. I have to trust. I have to just go for it. And I just went for it. I really didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I didn't know anything. I just jumped in. I know it was a gut feeling. I said, I got to do this.
And didn't you have some weird and wonderful events happen? I remember you saying to me, I couldn't say no because there were so many synchronicities.
I have had so many synchronicities, even up till now. It's been unbelievable. I've just had numbers appear to me out of the blue, just consistent. I think I had 8 in one day. that which was a shock to me. And just, you know, nature calling me, messages from animals and just insects and just birds and just nature in general, and vivid dreams I was having, and there was just a lot of stuff that came up.
And you won. You won you won a prize, didn't you?
Eloise, that was the best day of my life.
Tell us the story.
I said, if that is not synchronicity to the max, that is, I really couldn't believe it. And I don't even think you knew I won twice.
No, I didn't realize, because I was, you know, for me, it's quite intense at points. It's like, you know, I just keep going.
I just won twice. This is a sign. This is an absolute sign. And I just couldn't ignore it. It was amazing. It was just the answer I was looking for, like the real push that I needed to do it, because I still was kind of on the fence. You know, should I join?
It's horrible, isn't it, when you get stuck in that fear and you're kind of, it's like the beginning of this work is the hardest, I think, because you've got so many old ingrained patterns and so much fear. And, you know, like you said, it's hard to get through because you have that, like, where's it going to come from? You know, you're worried. And I think for people out there, like, asking for a sign or a signal, I do that all the time. Like, I always ask for signs and signals, and I ask for a 24-hour period to get that signal. I even get specific about what signal I want.
Yeah, I do a lot of journaling, which helps me. That was like the number one thing for me, was to journal my information. And also, when you introduced me to the pendulum, oh, that was my friend. My pendulum is my friend.
So what would you say to people listening who are, you know, they're on the fence, but they're like, oh, like, what would you say? Like, now you're kind of, what, 6 months in with us?
6 or 7, yeah.
6 or 7. So who were you then and who are you now?
Then I was alone, frustrated. I was lost. My family wasn't awoke. So I was like searching for information everywhere. I was really online trying to find information. The world was crazy. And I was just searching for myself, searching for what am I going to do now? What's my purpose? And now, wow, I'm in my happy place.
You feel more connected to who you are?
I am connected. I have found my spirit guides. I have found my angels. I learned that I'm a medium of some kind. So that was new to me. So I've been using that, connecting with my guides, and I have specific guides that are actually family members that have crossed over that I can communicate with. So that was really, really powerful for me.
Wow.
Yeah. And one of them was, she came across as, her name was Rosie. And at first I didn't know, but I felt like really connected to her. So I asked her, I said, are you Roxy? Could you be Roxy? And she said, yes. And Roxy is my mother-in-law, who passed away a few years ago. And she lived in my house for years.
Right.
And she actually gave me her ring, which I've never taken off.
Oh, wow.
Before she passed away, she gave me her ring. So I had a strong connection, and she did confirm that it was her. So we communicate all the time. When she told me who she was,
yeah,
I said to her, give me a sign. I said, I want to really know that it was you. So I said, tell me something only I would know, you know, something personal that nobody else would know, so I know it's you. And she did. She confirmed an article that she was in when she was in her 20s.
Wow.
That we had in a book. Yeah, it was like a family book of just memories. And she said, she told me what the article was, and it was actually, this day we communicated was Mother's Day. So I reached out to her on Mother's Day, and she said she was Mother of the Year in an article with her picture and her story I mean, we're talking years and years ago, because she was in her 20s and she was in her 80s now. So, and she told me right where it was. And she said, go take a look at it.
Wow.
And I knew right there and then that was her.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was just amazing.
And is this something they're saying to you? Because it does sound like you have a real gift, Tina. Is this something that you're being nudged to do a bit more of, as in for other people?
I want to. I can only connect, though, with the pendulum.
Sure.
You know, so I'm not there yet where I'm just getting, visuals or downloads like that. My awakening, though, I did get a voice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would really love to work with that. I had no clue that I was capable of that.
Amazing.
I didn't know anything, really. I was ignorant to spirituality when I joined. I went from...
I was going to say, you've gone from kind of Catholicism to now,
where this stuff was evil. You're going to go to a bad place if you do this. So I pushed all my intuitions aside since I was little, and never really knew it was natural. So I never got to speak my truth, which that's why I have trouble. Exactly. We learned that through the Akashic records. So all of that is playing out.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, I would encourage you, and I think the wonderful thing about our community is it's a safe space, and I think I said we don't sell to each other in our community, but we do practice our gifts, so I'm sure one of the guys would be open to you, just practicing, working with them. And, and that's the lovely thing about it, is that it's a safe space where you can connect with people who are like-minded, Donna watching, Leah watching. I'm sure if you wanted to just practice and start to evolve that gift, then I'm sure you would get a willing volunteer in our community, because it does sound like you've got a lovely gift there.
Well, my ego still tells me, I need to know how. And what we learn in this community, you don't ask how, you just go with the flow. So I'm like, how am I supposed to do that? How can I do that? I don't even know how to do it for myself. So,
but practice makes perfect. And so I think this is the great thing when you're around a loving, supportive community. Like for me, that's the thing that I'm getting the download for you, is you need to do that more, and so go do it. And don't worry about, you're with friends who can support you on that journey and who just would love to be part of it and help you open up that gift even further.
I need to learn how to ask for more help, which has been one of my issues as well. I could give you a list.
We all have that. Do you know what I mean? Like, asking for help.
I grew up like that. You ask for help, you're weak. You're not working, you're lazy. The old, stuff like that. So.
And what has changed around your boundaries and, have your family noticed that you've changed?
My family doesn't live here, so I never really see them. I can't talk to them. They're not awake. They've all been, So I might talk to my sister, my youngest sister, but
your husband and your son?
My son, yes. My husband, he sees me do stuff, but he doesn't want to know about it. He tries. He comes and he watches, but he sits there. You know how men do when they're not interested. You can tell. They're just there, but they're not really absorbing what you're saying. It's all woo-woo. He don't believe in woo-woo. So,
sure.
But my son is actually, he joins me. He comes in, and actually, his mother-in-law connected to him when he came in my room one time. She said she felt his energy and she knew Daniel was in the room. So that was really amazing. And actually, she came and visited him in one of his dreams. She came in as a pink flying elephant. So he was actually scared because he had never seen anything like that before. But it was actually her, because I checked with my pendulum, and it was her just visiting him and watching over him. And so, my son's the closest right now to me. Sure. And I hear him in his room sometimes. He talks spiritual stuff to his friends. He's got some friends that are not doing well. Some say, suicidal. Some are. So they come to him automatically, just like everyone used to come to me, and I didn't know why. But they do come to him for that. I don't know, but he's got that gift as well. So, and he's journaling every night, Aloise.
So tell me about this journaling, because obviously that's a habit we got you into, isn't it? Like, what would you say it's added to your life? Like, what is it that, I suppose what I'm trying to ascertain is, where were you before you joined us and where are you now? Basically, for the people listening, like, what's the difference and why should they take the leap and come with us on this journey?
Let's see. Before, money ruled my life. Fear ruled my life. I lived with anxiety and depression, and I have come full circle. I am now connected, grounded. I know how to access something higher than me. And journaling helps me get that out, which I love to journal anyway. I like to write. I write all the time. There's notebooks all around. I do it during the day. I do it before bed. And now I found on my walks that I just speak it. I don't always, sometimes you're tired, you don't want to. I just walk out there. I wait till late at night, nobody sees me, and I talk to myself on my whole way around. I just speak to my guides. I speak to the universe. And I'm telling you, when I come back from my walks, there's insects waiting to greet me at the door, or there's, birds, just honestly, they just come and they're just there. And just synchronicities happen. And it really opened me up because I have trouble speaking. So as long as nobody's, answering me back and I'm just speaking to them and I don't get that conflict, it gives me more confidence to speak.
So am I correct in saying that you've gone from a kind of feeling anxious, depressed, worried about money, not in flow,
to flowing, letting it go, and it'll still come up. Sometimes it still comes up, you have an interview today. Oh, no. Am I going to get it right? Everybody's watching. I'm used to speaking outside. Nobody watches you. But I said, I'm going to just let it go. I got spiritually dressed, which I do twice a day. Wow. So that is I will not miss a day without doing that.
Brilliant.
That really connects me. Yeah. So I find that, I'm just flowing and enjoying life now. I still, I think we did this, when we did the power circle.
Oh, yeah.
You were going, when you were telling me during my Akashic record reading that I had a spell on me for my soul purpose. And actually, it's funny because if you look at the top, my soul purpose is the lowest number. It is my lowest number, not even knowing. So, yeah, the Akashic records really, really helped me realize a lot of things.
And we're about to go into Dharma as well, because you've never done Dharma with me. So that we're about to do that. And that's like my favorite program. So that will
I'm excited.
That will get you really clear on your soul purpose and how that will unfold for you. But it sounds to me, you've got a real gift there. Again, maybe that's something you can check in with to see if that's something an area you should be progressing. And then, I keep asking, because they'll give you opportunities. I've just given you an opportunity to go and, go practice, and I'm sure you'll get.
I actually did get a download for that, to get a Reiki book. It was the exact title of the Reiki book. So I did purchase it. I haven't finished it yet. So I'm looking into that as well. But, I need to know how. Still, sometimes it pops up, how is this going to work? But you got to learn to ask not how. It's just, you trust.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what you'll find in Dharma, because what we don't go through in the Do Your Dharma program is we take you through a process to understand your energy type and who you are at soul level. And, listening to you, like, I would take a guess that you've got a lot of earth energy. You're very empathic. You're probably a natural born healer, hence the interest in the Reiki and everything. But then we explain to you how to work with the laws of the universe. Obviously, the whole what, no, how, not how. And so by what you'll find is just having this courage to take baby steps. Like, the baby step would be to then start doing it for other people and just see where it leads. That's, if you speak to someone like Kerry Powell, who's maybe 2 years into her journey, that's exactly how it started for her. You start practicing, and then you basically, somebody else will say, oh, could you do this for me? Or could you do this for me? And it just starts to flow, and it has almost like a life of its own. But most of us don't get out of our own way because, like you said, you want to know how.
You want to know how, and you know not to. It just comes in and it tells you.
If you just said to me how I would build an online academy of people, I'd have been like, I have no idea. That is not possible, and it's too big and too scary. I wouldn't have been able to do it. But I've just followed my guidance step by step by step, and it just unfolds as you go ahead. But I think, what's the difference between trying to do this yourself or having our community around you? Like, is this something people can do by themselves, or what's the benefit of being with us?
For me, no, there's no support there. This is support there in the community 24 hours, whenever. There's always somebody on. There's always someone to listen. You post your wins and into the group, and everyone looks at it and they give their input, which is really, really good. Especially for those who don't want to just reach out and ask, like me. You can actually see their input through the, when you're posting, when you're sharing. And that kind of gives you encouragement to take that further. Like Ed used to post a lot of comments, like comments that I really needed to hear at the time. So it is synchronicity. I mean, it's not just random. I mean, people really feel the energy. You can feel it because they know, like some of the vivid dreams I used to have, I used to share. And I used to get feedback, that could be your chakra that might be closed. And that's why you had that. And then I would check my pendulum, and of course, that was what it was. So, and I had no idea. So by reaching out, it gave me, well, maybe that's where I need to look, I know Magenta Pixie has a lot of dreams, and she tries to figure out, why she's having dreams. So I get a lot of that. So that's pretty interesting as well. But this group I couldn't do it without this group.
So support, basically.
I could not do it. And without you, never.
Without me pushing you out your comfort zone.
Aloise, you have gone beyond. This is like way out of my comfort zone. But anyway, that's what I liked about you, and that's why I was drawn to you. Your energy. You had something I needed. You had that confidence. You had just the way about you, your energy, you look like you really love what you do. And you have a great way of communicating, which is what I lack. So.
Well, I think you're doing fantastically well this evening. So.
Yeah, but the fear tries to get in at first. So, it tries to cut me off. But once I'm on a flow, I'm good. It's that, the ego stuff. Yeah, that I'm still working on.
Well, I think we all are still working on. But I think you've done fantastically well this evening, speaking your truth. So keep doing it. And I'd just like to say for the record that, I think sometimes it's easy to look at people and say, oh, they're really confident. And, and I try and share my journey as honestly as possible, because my life, I've had to fight through my stuff to be where I am with you now. And if you were to look at me, 10 years ago, you'd be like this different person, totally different person. But it's testament to doing what you're doing now, getting out of your comfort zone, and you keep stretching it, and you keep getting it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And before you know it, you're in a completely different place with a life that you want.
Yeah. And it's true what they say, money just finds you. Now, that was my biggest fear from the beginning. And
talk about that. So what happened there? You said you took the leap and you didn't have the money, and what happened?
I didn't have the money. So I said, I got to find an alternate way. I had a 401k that I had aside from a previous job that I cashed in to get me through a few months. There wasn't much on there because I wasn't at the job for too long. And then just little things like that, like you get cards in the mail, you get gifts, you get a check. I had a settlement check from a credit card dispute years and years ago. During this time when I needed it, it was in the mail. Like literally got me through another couple months. And, just last week I got birthday money from family members. So that's going to get me through some more. And I went even further, and this will sound crazy, but I don't know, in the United States, they have Get Upside app. It's an app that you can download. So whenever you go get gas, you get money. And if you refer other people, their money, it builds up on your account. So I said, well, I haven't used it in a while because I haven't been working. So I really don't drive. So let me check my account. And there was like money in there that I hadn't known I had. I said, well, let me cash that in. And I got that check in the mail as well. So I'm pretty much covered till December. So, I mean, it really, like Fiona said, it really shows up on your door when you're not even thinking. But when you start thinking, you start wondering, it doesn't work. So,
and I would put that down to being in alignment. That's probably what I would say. It's like you get rewarded when you're going the right direction, when you're on the righteous path. You are supported. They talk about, when I studied the principles of Dharma, they were basically saying that when you do your Dharma, when you are on that correct path, then abundance, and it doesn't necessarily show up as the classic way you'd probably want it, but it will show up in different ways.
Yeah, and abundance, that's powerful. I just state that every day. I am abundant, and the universe supports me. I mean, I say that over and over and over again, and it really helps. But then people who aren't awake in the family don't see you as, what are you doing? You're sitting home, you're on the computer, you're not working, there's no income. They still see it that way. But you're actually taking higher steps, but they don't see that. So that's really difficult for me to, when you're not surrounded by people. Well, this group I am, but I mean, outside of the group, when I'm not there, then I have that issue to deal with. You know what I mean? So,
well, then it's the traditional route, isn't it? That you have to work 9 to 5, and you have to sort of, blah, blah, blah. And what
you
you're
look
doing,
like you're important, right?
Yeah, you're working smart, not hard. You're attracting the money rather than having to work 24 hours a day to achieve it.
And it's really funny from the beginning. I didn't mean to interrupt, but at the very beginning, it was, who's going to make the house payment was the big thing coming up for me and my husband, of course. And since then, he's made the house payment up till now. So it's been 7 months with no issue. So, there's a way, like it's all the mind telling you all this stuff, and it's not true.
No, but it takes a lot of trust, doesn't it? And faith to kind of just let go and trust. And I can see with your demeanor that you're in this place of you don't know what's going to happen every month, but you just trust, and it does work.
Yeah. So it's fantastic. I would recommend it to everybody. Do it. Just go for it. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, I think the next stage will be brilliant for you, Tina, because you've done a lot of the work of, if you think you've moved from anxious and depressed, doing something you don't like, into space and time to heal. And you've had 7 months to do healing work, to work on your boundaries, to get into a place where you're happy and contented. And now we're going to take you into Dharma, and we're going to get crystal clear on your purpose and your future. And you're going to be able to then transition into this healing role, this clairvoyance role, whatever it is that how do you want to spend your days? That's the question that people don't ask is, if you would love to spend your days doing Reiki sessions and doing like clairvoyance or readings for people, if that's like your dream.
It is. The Akashic was fascinating to me. It's fascinating.
Well, we're going to second year of the academy. It's funny because I'm getting lots of downloads at the moment because I want to teach. I want the academy to become like a mystery school. Do you remember? Have you heard the term mystery
school? Yes.
Yeah. So in Egypt, they used to have the mystery schools, and I actually learned to do my energy work in a past life in the mystery schools. And I really want to teach a lot of the skills that I've learned in the academy. So I'm just in the process of devising. This would be a second year. If you joined us in the academy, it's the second year, but of devising a way of teaching it, because it takes me time to sort of, I have to download it and find a way to teach it, if that makes sense. But Yeah, it will be very powerful for people, because rather than me clearing their Akashic record, they can clear their own Akashic record.
Wow.
Yeah. And, it's so empowering, because you can get rid of your own blocks, your negative unconscious patterns, your karma. You literally can become a different person when you understand how to do this stuff. And I'm being guided that that's where we're going to go in our academy. That will be year 2. But it's kind of like you do year 1 and you heal and you find your purpose and you start to work on your money stuff, and you understand spirituality and the spiritual evolutionary process. And then year 2, we're going to take you and you're going to clear your shit.
Yeah. And I set my intention in my Akashic records all the time. And it's funny because once you start doing it and you're consistent, it just connects. But if you introduce something new to it, it has to think harder. So, it's fascinating. The whole thing is fascinating to me.
And how alive do you feel now compared to where you were this time last year before you joined us?
Oh my gosh, night and day. I can't even tell you.
And doesn't it make life interesting?
It makes life just
worth living.
Yeah. Like, why did I wake up so late? Like, why couldn't I wake up when I was 20? And why can't other people be awake so they can, but they're there for a reason. They're there, your triggers. So it's what you need to work on. So, yeah.
But how wonderful is it? Like, I remember thinking, there's got to be more to life than this. It's got to be more to life than this.
That was my number one saying. I mean, there's got to be more to life than this. And I used to walk around and I used to say it. And not know why I said it.
Yeah. And it's
now I know.
And it's magical and it's mystical, and and you do your hero's journey with us, and evolve and grow and know that you're really kind of going to that next level.
I'd like to get to the visualization part. I still struggle with that one, but I get other stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it might be, stronger in one area and then have to work in it. I don't know what it is. Because I saw somebody else mention it, that they were having trouble with visualization. So I'm right there with you. I struggle with visualization. It's not clear. It's just like kind of blurry. It's not colorful, like everyone sees clear. Like Fiona had showed her little of what she saw. That was wonderful. See, I don't see that yet. I just see. I can't.
Yours just might come in a different way.
Right.
I think we have this kind of idea that if we don't have all of the clairsentient, clairaudient, if we don't see, if we don't hear, if we don't feel, like, I'm not really a seer either, Tina. I'll be honest with you. I'm not really a visualizer, but I'm a feeler.
Yeah, me too.
I feel energy, and I just get massive energy rushes, but I'm not a seer. My seeing is starting to open up now. I've cleaned up my diet.
Okay, I'm working on that.
Yeah. So that's something to think about, because I've noticed the cleaner I eat when I'm doing my Akashics work, I'm starting to see. But, that's new for me. And you've got to think, like, I'm probably a few years ahead.
How many years? Yeah, quite a few. So
a couple of years, so I think it's be careful not to label it like, everybody's completely unique,
I know.
But we're all different, and we've all, you've already described the downloads you're getting, which are fantastic.
Yeah. I just can't wait till they just come natural,
They will. But you see, what you're doing as well is you're creating a channel to your higher self. So the more you practice, it's like anything, we don't get muscle just overnight. We have to practice.
No.
So the more you practice with our community, I'm going to, like, you've made your bed now. I'm going to hold you to that. I'll be like,
I know.
have you done your session? But the more you practice, the easier it's going to get.
Okay.
So, but I have to say, you've done a fantastic job. You're a different woman to sort of 6 months ago. You've done the work, you've showed up, you've committed, you're in flow, and I can't wait to see the next 6 months where it takes you.
I know, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. That was amazing.
And you're such a beautiful light. You know, we love having you. You know, been so supportive to everybody else in the challenge. And
Thank you.
we really enjoy having you in our community.
And it works both ways. So, yeah.
Good.
Fantastic.
Good. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you doing this evening as well.
And thank you for having me on. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you did it.
Even though I'm new with an interview, I'm like, I'm fairly new at this, you know. So, yeah.
You did a great job. You did a really good job. Thank you.
All right.
You're an angel.
Thank you, Aloise.
So I'm going to get you to jump off if that's okay. I'm just going to round up.
Sure.
But well done.
Thank you.
And we will see you in the group. Oh, didn't she do well? Yes, I have to warn you, if you come and join our community, I do regularly push you out of your comfort zone in a nice way, of course. So a couple of things I want to share with you before you guys go and before I go. So you have a week left to join us. Unfortunately, the wrong date was put on one of the things. So basically the Dharma Life Academy and the community is open for you to join until next Wednesday. And if you're listening to this on the replay, so that means you have until the 29th to join us before the cart shuts, because we're starting Dharma the following week, basically, and we need to get organized. Now, we are doing a meditation and meetup. So if you sign up before the 27th of September, today is the 22nd, you join the community, the academy, or you do one-to-one stuff with me, you will get an invitation to a meditation, visualization, and meetup on the 27th. And how that works is we're going to spend half an hour really going into our futures like we did before, but the kind of full-on works where it take you to connect to your higher self, get you. The more you do this, the easier it gets, because you will start to see more, you will get more connected, you will kind of just believe more is possible. And then we're going to do a meetup afterwards. So what you do is you go and talk about your vision to your partners afterwards. And you remember the frequency formula. The more you speak it into existence, the more you talk about it, the more you visualize it, you're in it, you're holding it in that frequency. So you're aligning to it. And then plus you get to meet some of the incredible people in our community as well. So it's like lovely just to be able to connect with them and chat like I just did with Tina. So you beautiful beings, we'll be back. What day is it? Tomorrow's Wednesday. So tomorrow night, what is happening tomorrow night? That is a good question. Tomorrow night, you will hear from me and Leah. Actually, Leah and I are going to go live. We might go live or we might do it a bit later. I'm not sure yet. But there will be another interview with the beautiful Leah Ward tomorrow night, basically. So you beautiful people, have a great night. Loving you lots, and I'll see you soon.